Owune Ajoka, it means that the death of a mother is very terrible. It's not nice. Hello there, you are highly welcome here. So my name is Amara and I am so pleased and glad to be on your screen. So very quickly in today's video, I'm going to be going to, that part of our minds where we lock or keep the memories that we do not ever want to lose, but we do not even have the courage to go back to either. Yeah, so I'm going to that place to talk about something with you. So yes, in today's video I'll be talking about my mom of blessed memory. I'll be talking about what grief taught me after losing my mom. There are some phone calls that divide your life into two parts. You now have before and after. For me, that call came in 2019 when I lost my mom unexpectedly. And even now, after almost 7 years, it still feels very strange to say those words out loud. I lost my mom. My mom was one of the strongest people I have ever known. She was a kind woman. I don't think I have any memory of her being like actively sick in all my years of knowing her. She has always been that person that knows, the kind of everything is figure outable kind of person. So when I got that call that she had been hospitalized, not even that she was sick, hospitalized, it did not feel real. And at the time I was in the western part of Nigeria preparing for an examination because I was trying to pursue my master's degree, and my mom was one of those people encouraging me to go. She said all the education that she did not get to, that I was going to get to, that like it was so important to her. When I heard she was sick, I wanted to return home immediately, but she kept telling me not to stay there, focus on your exams, do what you came to do, I'll be fine, and all that. Those were some of the last instructions that she gave to me. Yeah, those were some of the last instructions that she gave to me. I think she passed on a Saturday morning, and even up till the Friday night I was with her on a video call. I saw her. She was recuperating already. I remember she was eating a cucumber. My dad was with her, and then she said on Monday they were going to discharge her. So I was having hope. I was really feeling hopeful. But then the next day, when I had my dad's voice over the phone, I just knew that there's some kind of things that you just know, like even before you're being told. When I spoke with my dad that next day, he didn't tell me expressly that your mom has passed, your mom has died. But from the brokenness in his voice, I had never heard him that broken. When I heard his voice, I just knew that no, something very, very terrible has befallen us. So nobody told me directly what was happening. Nobody told me directly, but I could hear it in the things they were not saying. So I started my journey back home that Saturday morning, and till this day I always say that was the longest journey of my life. Like, I don't remember much of the road. I just remember the disbelief. The shock, the feeling that somehow this cannot just be happening. My phone kept ringing because my uncles, my family back in the east, they were like keeping track with me. I think they had a meeting amongst themselves, like nobody should tell Amara that her mother has died. So when I would be asking, okay, you guys in the hospital, how is she now, can I talk to her now, they were bouncing me off up and down, but I could already sense it. And then in the bus that I entered, it was a GIG bus that I entered, and they have these little televisions in those buses, and we're playing a very sad movie. I can't quite remember the name of that movie, but if I remember it, I'm going to put it right here. Like, the journey was so long. I think at the point I was just sitting still. The AC was so cold. Tears were just, when you're not crying out, but tears are just streaming down your face. And then my ringing tune at that time, till today, if I hear that ringing tune anywhere, it takes me back to that time in 2019. Like, immediately after the burial process, I had to change that ringing tune for good, because okay, so I think my relatives, with my family. I think they were trying to protect me. I think they didn't really know what to say to me at that point. But then there was this one relative who kept calling repeatedly. You know those kind of people. I don't know if this is someone that we don't even speak all the time. But she was the one that now called, and when I picked, other family members were like trying to bounce it off, not tell me directly. This young person opened mouth and say, "Hey, mommy have died though, this one, that one, mommy has died." And and that's the first thing that grief taught me. Grief does not always begin with drama. Sometimes it begins with disbelief, like your mind refuses to accept what your heart already knows. Yeah. So by the time I got home, everything became a blur. You know, everything was just a blur. I remember when I got back, okay, my auntie picked me from Onitsha. The next day, I continued. Another of my uncles picked me from Afib, from Amasiri, then down to Eda, my village, my hometown. I remember getting to that. When we got into the compound, there was already a crowd of people there. There were sad faces everywhere. Like, I just remember one of my aunties that came out to receive me. I just hugged her, and then as I was walking in, I did not look at anybody. I just kept my face up. I didn't want to see all the wailing people, all the people crying, all that. My mind was on my dad because he, even at the moment, wasn't feeling so strong. So I just went to see him inside streets, and the whole thing was just like a blur. You know, when you are kind of having out of body experience. I think I experienced a glimpse of that out of body experience, you know. And then from then onwards, we started having, you know, the burial plans, family meetings, visitors, decisions. My dad wasn't very strong, like I already mentioned, and so as the first daughter, I found myself taking on responsibilities that I never imagined I would have to carry. Like, I had to now start making decisions about things that no daughter ever wants to think about, no matter how old you are. You know, the casket, the burial arrangements, the grave, and all that. Like, I remember vividly when I got back to our base in Abia State, and I got into her room, and I had to like gather her clothes together. Yeah, so I had to like gather her stuff. I had to like gather her stuff together and keep. You know, there's a kind of pain that comes when someone is maybe sick for a protracted period and is not responding to treatment, and in a part of your mind you're already like giving a 50-50 chance. But like when you don't see it coming, when you did not plan for it, you did not prepare for it, when you're talking with this person today and all smiles and being all smiles, and then the next day the person is not there, it's that feeling it's not a feeling that I would wish on anyone, really. So, you know, and the more we kept having the burial plans, having the condolence visits, and a whole lot that was going on behind the scenes to send her home properly, the more we did all that, the more the realization was hitting that a mother was gone. That's the second thing that grief taught me. Sometimes life does not pause to let you grieve. People think that grief is crying, that sometimes grief looks like signing papers, answering questions, hosting visitors, making decisions while your heart is breaking. People kept telling me I was strong because I was not crying publicly. They kept saying, "You are strong, you're handling this well, you are strong for all of us, we are drawing from your strength." What they did not see were the moments when I was alone. The moments when when I couldn't believe she was gone. Like the moments when I felt completely shattered on the inside. And that's another thing that nobody tells you about grief. Being strong does not mean that you are okay. Sometimes it just means that you have responsibilities that are not going to sit down to wait for your emotions. Yeah, one of the hardest moments for me was seeing the posters around town, you know, seeing her posters around town, going into her room, going through her stuff. I don't think anything prepares you for that. Nothing prepares you for it. You know, those small moments somehow make the loss feel even more real than the funeral that we were planning. And then came the questions, you know, so many questions about death, questions about what happens when people die, where do they go, questions about God. I remember I questioned a lot of things. I spent nights reading and researching things that I never cared about before, because I was searching for answers. I was like, why? I was trying to make sense of something that did not make sense. Like, I was angry, I was confused, I was heartbroken, I was angry at God, because in my mind, my mother did not deserve to die that way. I mean, she was a good woman, she was a faithful woman, she was a church goer, she was a tither, she was a loving woman, she made a lot of people happy. So why her? Why now? Why this way? I questioned all those things. I wrestled with those questions for a long time. Like, I kept questioning all those stuff. I was like, why? I kept remembering all the, even prior to the time I traveled for those exams that I traveled for. I remember we would have all those banters. Like, I would tell her, when you come for my omugo, and she always had the right intuition about my friends, my friendships, even more than I did. That was why I always let her in on anything that was happening with my life. I never did keep things from her. So, like, my mom was that person that even up to my NYSC, I did not bother about buying handbags or even clothes or even shoes, because I knew that once I get to, mommy will have something ready for me. Like, this man would take one look at me and diagnose, like, if I'm frowning, she can take one look at me and diagnose the problem. Oh, is it this person? Oh, is it money? Come and take. You get. So I asked a lot of questions. I was doing a lot of research. I was like, God, why? I even stopped praying. I was like, so what's now the essence of being a good person if you're still going to die without reaping the fruit of your labor? I was that angry. There was a pent-up anger and confusion on the inside. Nothing prepared me. Nothing prepared me for October 26th, 2019. Nothing prepared me for it. In the middle of all that pain, I found something that held me together. It was still my faith. So this my faith I was angry with. My Bible became my anchor. Like, I found comfort in the promise that being absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. Like, I memorized it, I internalized it, I read it again and again. I was reading Christian books at the time. Like, I prayed, I cried, I questioned. I remember at the time I was reading Francine Rivers. There's a trilogy sequel that she wrote, and it was talking about the Christian martyrs, of how they were persecuted and killed for being Christians, and how the characters in that book, how they faced death, how they approached death, how they saw death not as the end but only a transition, how they saw death as being absent from the body and present with the Lord, how they saw death as just going home to their maker. So I think those were part of the things that helped me. And the Bible, again, I really studied the Bible verses about death. Like, I think that was when my convictions about us living here, you know, when the Bible says that the flesh, dust goes back to dust and the spirit returns to God, the spirit, yeah, God. So it became so real to me. I had to force myself to immediately believe it. Mommy is not dead. She has only gone back to be with God, and she's even in a better place. I was even now telling myself that being with God has to be a better. I don't think anybody will taste like that place, being with the peace and serenity that must come with being with God, and still want to come back with this our troublesome earth filled with chaos and all that. That's what I started feeling like at that time. I was not thinking, okay, as she has crossed over to the other side now, is she going to meet maybe her late mom, her late dad, her late friends? I started thinking maybe she has just crossed over to another. I thought a lot of things. I did think a lot of things. But then, as I thought and I questioned, little by little, I found peace. Not because all my questions were answered, because I became convinced that my mother is safe with God and nothing could take that conviction away from me. That conviction carried me through my darkest days. Even now, I still miss her terribly. I miss her. I miss calling her whenever something happens in my life, whether good or bad. I miss her advice. I miss her voice. I miss her presence. Like when I had my daughter, when I had Chioma, who is her namesake, by the way, I cried because I wished my mom could have met her. Like she would have been an amazing grandmother. Every Mother's Day, I think about her. Every milestone reminds me of her. And that is another thing that nobody tells you about grief. You do not stop loving people because they die. Yeah, you don't stop missing them either. The pain just changes. The love does not change. Yeah, the love does not change. So today, I still miss my mom. But I no longer see her story as ending in 2019. As a Christian, I believe that she simply went home ahead of me. And while I wish she were still here, that belief gives me peace. So if you're someone that you've lost someone you've loved, I hope you know that whatever you're feeling is okay. Grief is not a straight line like this. There's no perfect timeline. There's no right way to do it. Yeah. And if nobody told you this lately, let me tell you now, you don't have to be strong all the time. Yeah, you absolutely do not have to be strong all the time. There are still sometimes that it gets overwhelming on me and I just cry. I remember a Mother's Day last year, I was just in church and I was seeing the women of her age grade, they're tying their wrappers for Mother's Day and they were singing and they were dancing and coming out. And I broke down there in church and I was crying. I think people around me would have thought, she's crying tears of joy, she's so happy, she's so emotional. But I cried for my mom that day. I was like, so that's, they cry, no, they finish. Like, there will always be memories. There would always be triggers. There will be triggers. There's sometimes that Chioma and say, my daughter, and sometimes that I'll just look at Chioma and I'll just imagine like I know the kind of mother my mom was to me. So I know the kind of grandmother she would have been. And then I also cannot help feeling that some of the not so good decisions that I've made, I wouldn't have made if I still had her guidance. Yeah, of course, that's a valid feeling, and I really do not wish, no matter how old you are, whether you're 2 years old, I feel that no matter how old you are, Owunne Ajoka, like Owunne Ajoka, it means that the death of a mother is very terrible. It's not nice. There's a saying that nobody can love you as much as your mother would. They can only try, but that void is absolutely irreplaceable. Yes, right now I do have mother figures in my life, but that does not deny the fact that my mother is no longer here, and I've made peace with my reality. It's very important to make peace with your reality. Oh God. All right, so thank you for listening to this my story. I mean, I just scratched the surface of this story. I can't pour out everything here, but if you've experienced grief, I'd like to hear what helped you through it. Feel free to share in the comment section. And yeah, so if you enjoy thoughtful conversations about life, faith, healing, personal growth, don't forget to subscribe to Amaraglow TV. And you know that, of course, I'm very thankful to you for giving me your time and watching this video. See you in my next video.